All right, so I'm still n- um not able to put pantyhose or underwear on yet. um, but I did take a bath today, and it hurts so bad, like anything with my hand. But like I couldn't. I wanted to open like jars, um, the scoop like hair mask for my long ass hair. And I'm growing it longer too. I always do that. I'll grow it really long and then I'll get upset. But anyway, um, so I do a lot of hair. Anyway, they're all in these jars, each one, and it hurts because you have to hold with the thumb. Did you not know this? To hold something, because I have tried every way to hold something with the floor, and um, but I learned to be able to look anything that's pump that I had or a squirt. And then uh, I was able to put on my like flop shoes. And actually, a part of taking the bath. Do you see this, Darth Tamaris? Let me make him a moderator actually, because I've been seeing you around enough. Sends me a video of a guy saying, "Wash your ass." I was like, "Is this about me?" First of all, I shower like twice a day. Typically, I like was not wanting this to happen, I couldn't put makeup on tonight. Oh, I did put socks on her. So today, oh yeah, look at that. You can't see yet. I actually got. They have little pearls too. Oh, there you go. There you go. Do you see that? I actually got one of my computers back. They got damaged that I've been waiting for, but I had to get a charger. They didn't send me my charger back, so I had to buy another charger. It was only like $10, but I got that finally today, and so it's charging. So I couldn't do it with this live, but I will tomorrow. Anyway, I've been really frustrated because I'm still waiting for that guy to look at that hard drive that fell. Although, did you see yesterday? I was putting up some random videos. I'm like, what's on this drive? I have a bunch of the outfit of the days, and but I did put up that one for Terry with that leather dress right there I have that he likes. I said I like it because you have the leather dress and boots. And Dolly Parton, I guess I play a Dolly Parton song in that. So every time you watch it, Dolly Parton will get paid. I could edit it out, but I didn't want to. Like Dolly. Dolly is Dolly. Although that's not why it's titled "I Will Always Love You." That's just the name of the next chapter that we're on in the book tonight. Ow. This hand has been hurting so bad today. Chapter 16, and look how far along we are in the book. I wonder when she'll come out with the next installment. But do we see? Ugh, I hate this. I can't wait to have the other computer. You kind of see computer hooked up. Hi, John. Hi, Arthur. Not nearly done, but like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, we're over halfway, and I guess we're over halfway. So anyway, the thing with the hard drive, but then the thing with that company that because they were off, for the New Year's Day and being overseas, and so I can't talk to them until it's going to be tonight after the show. At some point, that'll be in their time. That I can try to get it straightened out. Sorry, it's so upsetting. But the only anyway, I was I was doing really bad this morning, and I thought, well, I know that I said that I was gonna go out every day till I can get it. The 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 peppermint mocha coffee, and let me tell you something. They say they say that, oh, they're only good till, like, March or April. Let me tell you something, I got these ones last year. The ones, like, I've been using, I recently ran out just, like, if I have, like, 1 or 2 left, they are still super good. Like, I can't say they're good as new because my memory won't tell me what exactly the sensations of the taste of them a year ago, you know what I mean? But I've been grabbing for them, like, you know what I mean? So I'm saying if you can get them in your stores discounted at the low price that you like, don't worry about that expiration. They start at Best Buy. They want to deceive you, so you have to buy more and you throw them out or something. But no, no, no. That's just like yogurt. I have yogurt from 6 years ago. I still eat it. Still, no, I'm just kidding. So, um, so I went there first, and it was oh no, yeah, I went there first, and then I got an email from the Starbucks. So I don't know about you, but like my lazy ass, for whatever point that I was signing up for my Starbucks account, which I never do Starbucks anymore unless I have a discount. Because did you know, and you can look this up, that the CEO or whatever, I don't know who he is, he put out like he put out like message, like it's been everywhere. No more discounts like we used to do, just like, and they didn't even do that great discounts that much, like, let's be real. Like, you have, I don't even know the star system because it's that worthless. But so because they're so rare, like, I just never get a Starbucks. So if I get the opportunity, and because I put in that my birthday was January 1st, because it's like literally the easiest thing. It's like, yeah, January 1st. It's like, you could alter it, like, up your months, because my birthday's in April. Like, share, I'm a Taurus. Um, so I was able to get, this isn't the same one. I added some peppermint mocha that I bought from the Ralph's, the Kroger today, that I got for $2. Okay. I don't know, that makes me so happy. But here's what doesn't make me happy. So then I went here second to get the free Starbucks. And then I went to go. Okay, so I thought, oh, I'm near a Starbucks. Because I didn't know if I'd have to go to like a standalone or in the store, because I didn't know if the store, when I say store, I mean in like a grocery store, sometimes they have Starbucks. Um, like, at least here, I don't know about yours, they have them in like Ralph's, the Bonds. So I didn't know, like, for the birthday reward, if I had to go to like a standalone Starbucks store. So I went there. And because I was there, and then I saw like nearby was a Target, and I thought, I'm gonna go to the Target and see if they have any discount coffee. Okay. Okay, let me tell you something. This was really bad. Yeah, but why did I make you think of that guy? Why did I make you think of that guy saying wash your asshole? Yeah, anyone on my OF, or horrible, horrible, evil thieves who seek out to exploit people, uh, have seen my is very clean. Anyway, so where was I? Don't distract me. So, this has been really hurting. Yes, it's only a suggestion. Okay, so at the Target, um, we could look up like Crazy Coupon Lady. That's a good site to know about discounts, but it's only like where their stores are, really, or sometimes they do like online. To me, I don't know. I'm not the smartest person, but it's like there are like secret codes. Like, some women, to be couponers, they gotta be like genius level to figure out how to get like this coupon with this to get this on this day at this for a penny. Like, to me, if I get like one box at a discount of like my coffee, I'm like, hello, trophy. Like, I'm I'm amazed by my own brilliance because I got at least this, whatever scraps I can get. Gotta praise Jesus. So, but I don't, but I know I used to look in like some of those like couponer places and they would say Target to go on New Year's Day and they have their coffees will be like 90%. So, I went there and I put coffee in my cart. It wasn't marked down, but I thought I'm gonna find a machine. I'm gonna find a machine. You know, like at Target, they have the machines for like a scan against the wall to see. And I think that like people have apps. Again, the there are people in this world that live in the future. They're from the future. They're a Xenon girl of the 21st century, and they have technology that they can be like, beep, 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 and know things. And I'm just like, okay, let me find a wall and like beep, beep, try to scan. uh, so I put the coffees in the cart. Sorry, I'm gonna shake. Um, you know, I didn't tell you. This is important. I didn't tell you the first part. Okay. Okay. So, um, that I went to the post office first. I know they're closed. To mail a couple of orders. Um, I thought I'm gonna go out anyway to the grocery store, and I don't know if I could always make it out, so I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm gonna stop at the post office in the small street that's open. But I was so sad. You know, I've been so sad, like every day, and like I said, like with not being helped yet and waiting to get we're overseas. Then I am trying to find an American company as well. I'll do both, but because a lot of these companies are based overseas in Europe and they have like more European um access to those European courts, that I feel that they are better. It's better to have every tool in my arsenal, you know what I mean? And if they have European lawyers, whatever, like that's what I got to do too. All of them, you know? So, but it's bothering me. You feel helpless. Like I have to wait and wait. And I feel like in the moment, like I said, like I had a panic attack right in the car and I started screaming. And I'm in the car and no one could really hear me because it's New Year's Day. By the way, the flag was half mast outside. Do they do that on New Year's Day or did something happen? Outside the post office, it was at half mast. Um, sorry. Oh, maybe it's for Jimmy Carter. Could be. Uh, yeah, there you go, sorry. Anyway, and I just am sitting there and I am like, I just start shrieking in pain. And I'm just like, "Ah!" Like, "Ah! Ah!" Like I couldn't get out of the car, couldn't like go in, couldn't go in the back of a stupid rental and get the bag and I'm just sitting there trying to breathe. It's like and I just start screaming like I don't like to do it with my dogs. You saw last night, I felt so bad for them. They would both put their head I lay in the bed and I cried, and they put their head, like and then if it, like, on the pillow so I'm here, and they'll be, like, right here with their heads, like and then if you look over, they're like, "Oh, this is just where I'm laying," but it's, like, because they care that I'm suffering, and I was like, "It's New Year's Eve, you guys, and it's Taco Tuesday," and I'm like, "I'm gonna get" and I get nervous because they say that there's, like, drunks out there on, New Year's Eve, that's, like, the most dangerous day. That's what, like, my mom used to say. I would always get nervous for New Year's Day with, like, people going out, but I thought, even with my busted up hand, I wanna get them some tacos, and they love that you saw it on my page. I'm like, "Here you go, because 'cause they're cheap, and it's their favorite. But anyway, I don't like to scream in it with them, but I'm just, like, screaming, I'm like, "What?" So, like, just and the pain, and I was crying things like I think I think because it's New Year's Day, because it's 2025, and then also probably the fact that I started posting some of the videos from, like, a few years ago, some of them, and I'm like, it reminds you of suffering, and you feel like things haven't gotten better, and it started making me feel like things aren't gonna get better, and and I think it hit me hard, like, you're supposed to be like, "It's New Year's Day," and people walk around the grocery store and tell each other, "Oh, yeah, New Year's Day. What a nice day it is." But I'm just like, and I was crying in the car, like, "Can't believe another year," and it's been so hard, look at last year and, when does it get better, God, So, but then I found my way out of the car, but I'm sure I look like some people to go out of the house, they have to be looking what they would call presentable, but it'd be like the hair on point. My hair is not even on point right now. I'm on camera. Like, look at this. Couldn't even blow dry my whatever. It's like, see, now it's gonna annoy everyone. So it's like, comb. The hell? No. Okay, that's fine. Get back to the story. So, but you know what I mean. So, like, I feel like I probably didn't look. I probably looked like the accurate true portrayal of me, a person that's sad, a person that doesn't put a lot of effort in how they look going out, which probably is a sign of depression. You could say mentally unwell, yeah, but not dangerous, not a dangerous person. Like maybe um my jacket is off the color matching to the dress, and the shoes, and like it doesn't all go together as an outfit. The purse, I wear the purse though, the same purse every day that Terry got me. He likes that black shiny. Well, I'm saying this story because what happened to me in the Target, this woman, I'll show you, this woman that works there, um she comes to me. I'm just going to show you the picture first because I feel like I said enough of the story so far that you can see the picture. Sorry, because you guys know I don't have underwear on, so my hand won't allow it. Okay, here we go. Do you see that? You see that woman? You see that my cart right there with the coffee by the skin? Okay. So she was not there. She must have seen me on one of their cameras. See, that's the other thing. I'm going to speak right now to everybody, obviously, but I want to speak specifically like where people that struggle with like any of the things I do, you'll see why this will be really hard. Because okay, so if you get hyper concerned that you're being watched, say, so you go in a store, you have social anxiety, that's one of them. You're anxious that you're being watched. This woman was watching me. So you tell yourself you might feel like you're grabbing coffee. Like I was going to buy them. Either way, like it was like, all right, I'm here. Like I'm gonna buy these coffees. Put them in my cart. She wasn't there yet exactly when I was grabbing the coffee, I don't think. But she followed me all the way, like I'm walking. I go to the scanner and she stands there when I get there. And she's like, "Can I help you?" And it was like froze, right? And she says it again, and it's like the most coldest, as though like I have done something, like you're in the TSA and they ask you to step aside. I'm not get the gloves, step aside. No, it was like, "Can I help you?" Like I didn't go up to her. She followed me and came around and stood there, right? But here's the thing. What do we know about Stella? She just gets nervous, hyper anxious. Oh yeah, Stella's got that. Stella's got that stutter. Stella's got those tics. So now I'm forced to respond when I've done nothing wrong. She even says it again, and it's like, and there's no one else. Like there's other people there. There's other shoppers there. She doesn't ask it to anyone else. She followed me before I did anything, and I'm like, so anyway, I start like, and she's just looking at me, like, upset that I'm, like, stuttering like this, like, I have anxiety disorder, I have social anxiety, like, I have anxiety for this exact scenario to happen, where you're in a store, you've done nothing wrong at all, you have a product, you put it in your cart, you have, like, and so I can think, "What did I do? Just like that I look bad?" She went to and I finally when I got was able to get words out, which took a long time, and she was like she couldn't have been any more, like, mean in the face, but, like, while I'm looking her in the eyes, falling to pieces, stuttering, like, to get words out, which I hate because it's like, even when you guys when you I'm, like, stuttering, you can say, "Take a breath. You don't have to talk right." It's like, "Take your time." No! No! I'm being told to talk, like, just, like, in my face, like, and finally, when I got the words out, I think what I was able to say through periods of stuttering was what like I look to everybody else. Like I look, people chattering over here, people I look because she's looking at me and I look and I've got the box in my one of the boxes in my hand of a coffee. I'm like, and it's like whoop, 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 whoop. I was like, what did I say? It was not like I think I said, why me? Why are you why why are you asking me? And she's like, uh-huh, uh-huh. It was like so then I start going, like I go into panic attack. Like I start going like really bad. And I'm like, I said, I'm having anxiety. So she walked over to where you saw right here in the picture. So then she stood here. This was after. She stood there. And so I got on the phone to pretend I was talking to someone. And that's where she was looking across. Like she wasn't listening. But she spent that whole time just be staring at me. There. She was not there before. And she was girl was there so she could see me. And I'm like, I can't breathe. They go, I start walking. I leave the cart, which is like full of product, full of the coffees. I go to from that point where that scanning machine was to where there's like some clothing. So there, but it was like empty. So there's like a metal shelf. I hold on to the shelf, trying to breathe. Each step to something to hold on to make it back into my car. And I go in the car and I break down crying. Like I couldn't believe this happened to me. It was like I did nothing wrong. It's like I didn't break a law. I wasn't gonna steal anything. I didn't steal anything. I've never stolen anything. I I I probably didn't look nice. I don't know. Maybe I understand there are girls out there, they will look good and I don't. I had a breakdown in the car to the post office and I just wanted to get some coffee. Some holiday seasonal coffee. But that's not against the law, you know, to not be pretty or whatever, or how you're supposed to be styled. I don't know. I just had a dress and a jacket, shoes, like whatever. But the point is, I'm gonna write corporate. I'm gonna write that store, and I'm so upset because, like, for anybody else that's like, if you have any kind of, I don't even want to say neurodivergent because anyone could be having a bad day. Like, you could lose somebody, you could lose a dog, you could be you're having a sad time and, like, you're not and you have to now take on the it was I think that I was in trouble. I was gonna say for taking a lot of coffee and putting it in my cart, but why would you get in trouble for being in a store, taking a product off a shelf, putting it in a cart, not your purse? I mean, I couldn't fit it if I wanted to, but I would putting it into a cart and then, like, go it wasn't, like, anywhere near the exit either, like, to the part before the exit, like, halfway into the store, because the food stuff's way in the back, so I wasn't, like, about to make off, and it's like, Do you need any help or anything?" Like, anyway. So after that, I went into the another Ralph's, I went in the car, like, like, that's just a scenario that I always fear happening. Like, I don't like to be seen. I don't like just, like, will be like, "Please don't come and talk to me," and that this happened, but anyway. Um, Let me read in the chat for a minute before I tell you what happened next. That's another busybody. Boom. Then somebody that worked there. Yeah, file a complaint. It's like literally a customer that was going to buy things that did nothing wrong. Like, I didn't do anything. So, so I go to the next store, which is another Ralph's, because I thought the first Ralph's I had luck. So why don't I go to another Ralph's to see if I get some more? Because I gotta think I might not be able to make it out tomorrow because sometimes I can't handle it. And it's like, okay, I try this one. And my headspace by the time I'm at that one was really messed up from what had just happened. So I started looking at they had coffee creamer on sale at that Ralph's. Like instead of $6.50, they had the Starbucks peppermint mocha creamer for $1.99. And there's just like a simple process of looking at when do they expire. I haven't had this, so I don't know if I'll like it, but maybe I get more than one just because I probably will. And if, and these things for somebody like me can be very hard, but in that state of mind that then I was then in, it's like, is anyone watching me? Is anyone in the cameras? Is someone going to come over here? And I'm just trying to think, and it's just like so made my day even worse when it's like this person doesn't know everything I had gone through before that, but doesn't even matter because you never know what somebody has been going through. Sorry, but so it made it stout sore. It was so hard. And their Starbucks, it was $6. Because the other one is like $2.01. That one was $6. So it's too much for me to spend. It's too rich for my blood. But so and I so I didn't get that, but then I tried to look. Okay, so I'm in the store. So I like to look if there's any deep discounts on like meats for the dogs. As you guys know, I got the two doggies. So I like to say, okay, if you find a pack of like say like turkey and it would be like this is what I found. It would be like $8.49, but it was $2. I was like, okay, this is a good turkey. They would like this. That was really hard. So I got a few things there. But that was why I didn't film. Like you saw when I left the Starbucks and I filmed and I was like, all right, let's see where else we could go, like to find more coffee. But that was why I couldn't after that. So I went there. The next place I went to Vaughn's. Didn't have none. Didn't have none, but I just got a loaf of bread there. The fresh. To me, Vaughn's has the best bakery fresh loaf of bread. But you know what I mean? Let's not like the sliced the loaf. So I just had a loaf of bread from there. It was like, was it $2.49? But like in my day, you could get a loaf of bread for 99 cents. And then I came home, and that was when I posted the picture and said, "Oh, my treasures," and I was putting them away. And then I saw my email, and it said that I was eligible for memberships because I had applied after I posted some of those videos last night. And I think that they wrote me or something like, what was it that I could apply or that they would under consideration. I thought I'll either lose my account, possible, but just make another one and you'll see that on the other site. Or I could get it. And then when they approved me for memberships, I was like, what? Like, what? Me? This is for real? And I thought, oh boy. Okay. So I have thousands of videos. Maybe I can't post all of them on this page. But they're supposed to be for at one point eventually or to have, and I'm gonna be once I get that hard drive after Thursday, which is like tomorrow. Um Please be okay, hard drive. I really think it is. I really think I think it will be okay. I'm gonna double save them and put it in like a safe somewhere and display the other ones. But anyway, I could do for membership like all kinds of things. I could do streams. I could like private streams up there. I could do like I don't know. I never even considered because I thought it had to be 30,000, and I thought it could take me 10 years to get there. So like I shouldn't even plan that, and I'll probably be banned before then. But I thought that I especially post like some of those other videos I haven't seen. Um, I want to give you just as much as I could give you, you know. So if anybody wants to try being a member, I don't know how you join that, but you could. um, a nice trip. What do you mean a nice trip? I was just talking about how I had a breakdown in the car, remembering how miserable I was and thinking it'll never get any better since it's always been so miserable. I don't know. Maybe see, I get the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that like you don't support me on the other site and therefore you don't understand like the torture I've been going through. And therefore you don't really understand like it's just a video to you. But oh my god, I have my first member. Thank you, Darth Tamarius. I have a member. Thank you, thank you. You know, they did it automatically, like, I think there's 2 tiers, they did that, and they filled it out automatically, and it says, like, you get a shout out, so I'm like, I feel like I'm legally obligated to shout you out, I think, although I I love you, I, like, to shout you out, but I'm also, like, I think I'll get arrested if I don't or something. So anyway, the joys, I have to shout you out as a member because anyway, we should get to reading. I've been complaining for half an hour. Hey, look, if you don't support me on the other site, you don't have to. But if you ever viewed me on a site, like my content that was behind a paywall, like literally, I wish nothing but horror for you and your family. Like I feel will never feel anything positive for you ever. So I just am incapable of it. Like it's just too much pain you have caused me. It's like, but as long as that, I love you. Richard! I'm not great with any words, but I think Aranjo? Aranjo? Uh, uh, thank you so much. All right, I'm sorry, your name isn't even Richard, it's Roland. I fucked it up already. Now I am going to be YouTube arrested. Roland, thank you. Thank you for joining. Okay, I'm so sorry. But in my defense, I read better off of here than the distance here on this computer, but I'm going to switch this computer out right tomorrow. Anyway, let's get to reading, shall we? That was so interesting last night. I love hearing your views about Sunny and Cher show and like what she was thinking at the time. And I actually had looked up that I think I found the first episode. I think the one I sent you guys was the first episode. I could be wrong, but because I never would have got to watch it live, you know, because I wasn't alive. But that was fun. Okay, this like I said, I'm not wearing any underwear, so we're gonna slowly figure it out. Okay. You see bruises all over my legs. This well, I'll figure it out. No, I won't figure out how to put on pantyhose eventually. Eventually my hand will heal and then I can put on my pantyhose again. Hopefully tomorrow, but in the meantime, bruises. Okay. All right. I'm realizing there's a slit in this, but that's okay. That's okay. Yes. Chapter 16. I will always love you. And I think she's doing like song titles as like a little device or whatever, like in her for the book.
So I think it's just the title. Where I mean I could be wrong, but I don't think it'll have anything to do with the Whitney Houston movie or any of that. And The Bodyguard is such a great movie. Okay. Just reading anything I didn't say. These socks have little pearlies on them too. They're really cute. One day we arrived for the read through, and the script was so all over the place it had to be rewritten. Realizing we had a moment of freedom, Rhett and I turned to each other like, let's get out while we can and make a beeline for the door. The script was all over the place and it had to be rewritten. Because remember, she's working her ass off. Why do they call it a beeline? Like, wouldn't it be like a Z? Like, what is that? Why did it? Yeah. So we made a beeline for the door. I was still in my fishnet tights and leotard, but rammed on my cowboy hat made by Bob. As we jumped into my turquoise Ferrari, I'm in love with Ferraris. My favorite was my Dino. If it was a guy, I would have married it and we'd still be together. Rhett and I drove up to Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills, where I saw a pair of beautiful black leather Charles Jordan boots and bought them on the spots. As we wandered through the store, we suddenly found ourselves in this amazing round room that was all mirrored and filled with thousands of perfume bottles. I picked one up, sprayed it in the air, and told Rhett, oh God, I love this. Sunny doesn't want me to wear perfume, but maybe I could just wear it for the show. Rhett nodded his head. Then I became aware that something was going on in that room besides me finding a perfume. I looked up to see a crowd of women let me just say, like, women have been buying perfumes like crazy this last couple years, maybe even a few years, but especially like the last couple years. And they might continue for a bit, but let me tell you, they're so expensive. They're so like the scent can go off. They don't last. Basically what I'm trying to say is I bet you there's going to be so many perfumes on the resale market in a matter of time. I think that they buy them because they're so miserable and they've been unhappy and like, hey, maybe a new bottle of perfume will make me happy. Maybe they're like, it smells good. I just feel happiness for a moment. And then it's like, okay, so maybe another perfume. And so anyway, I'm expecting to find some good perfume deals a few years from now. But anyway, what perfume is she looking at? A perfume. I looked up to see a crowd of women had started to gather around us, pointing and whispering. When they didn't look away, I asked Rhett, what are they looking at? He laughed and said, well, you, of course. You're on television now, honey. Everyone knows who you are. I was so busy working, I hadn't been out in the real world to see that I was famous again, but this time in 4K. Sunny and I had never been wealthier or more in demand. The IRS had been paid off, and we now had fame, money, and respect. This was the fantasy we'd always imagined. Although we never did walk into that Cadillac dealership with a brown paper bag full of cash, I was realizing that television fame was different than what we'd had from our records and concerts. Neither of us could believe it. I was finally able. Okay, anybody here Did anybody here get to watch it when it was live and like, or like, did you watch it? Because the thing is, like, there was less channels, less things to watch. A lot of people would have watched it. Like, I can imagine she'd be real famous. I was finally able to wear the kind of beautiful beaded gowns you did, John. I'd always dreamed of. Bob made one covered in shimmering red beads with an open stomach that just killed me. He and Rhett still sometimes went on costume raids for dancers, but for me and the guest stars, they were able to create whatever they wanted with a budget that grew to $5,000 per dress. Bob always said my size 6 body was like a coat hanger. He could hang anything on and it would look good. Bless him. At 25 years old and 108 pounds, I was finally getting some definition, especially once we started to do dance routines for our production numbers. Also, my body type had finally come into vogue. Astonishingly, I was named one of the 10 best dressed women in America, along with the fashion designer Carolina Herrera and Liza Minnelli. That felt surreal. Nobody would have believed it if they'd seen me in the 60s. Sonny, of course, made fun of my nomination in our next show and teased me mercilessly, claiming that my ass kicking new outfits only accentuated my size 38 nose. Bob Mackey and his team knew exactly how to show off my figure, although they had to turn around each new costume within a couple of days every single week. Not one of his costumes allowed for underwear. So I lost count of the hours I stood naked in front of him and his staff at his studio on Melrose Avenue as they studied me from every angle and worked out how best to style me. Elizabeth Courtney, the celebrated dressmaker who'd fitted dresses for Marlene Dietrich and Marilyn Monroe, among others, oversaw everything. People would close in on me to tug at this and pull on that, or I'd have to whip the dress off and flip it around. I'm going to send you after the show. I saw a video like a months back, and it's like a different, because I guess like in the beginning, like she would have like maybe a shawl or something and like kind of take it off and throw it for like a performance and see and really like show like that whole outfit. Like, so you see like with this piece on, taken off, like just to really appreciate what she's saying about her outfits. Well, John would know because like he's seen the show, but like if you don't really know, like these outfits really were like special. Okay. Elizabeth Courtney, the celebrated dressmaker, okay, oversaw everything. People would close in on me to tug at this and pull on that, or I'd have to whip the dress off and flip it around. Thank God we were all friends and most were gay men, so I never felt embarrassed. Because Sonny and I were married, we were almost free of censorship on the show and could get away with much more innuendo than if we'd been single. Which I found out later when I had my own show and always had 2 censors on my set. But Sonny and I were supposed to adhere to a law that had been passed 20 years prior, the Code of Practices for Television Broadcasters, which outlined how to dress within the bounds of decency. Bob and I found the whole idea insane in an age when women were wearing their tits up to their shoulders. I mean, you had Raquel Welch, Marilyn Monroe, Barbara Eden, and Jane Mansfield. Bob cut everything just on the edge of getting canceled. I don't know how we got away with it. He'd make cutaway backs and open sides, showing off my long torso, but often with little strips of fabric to cover up the offending part. It was a pain in the, well, midriff. Of course, those strips would flap to one side as I moved, or Bob would abandon them altogether on occasion to see if anyone died of shock. And when they didn't, he exposed more and more of me. which I didn't mind at all. It was fun. I always dressed in pants, and this was the first time people saw me as feminine or sexy. Our scripts also pushed the envelope and were on the razor's edge of risque. People loved it. To remind our audience of the wholesomeness of Sonny and Cher, we started bringing on the president of our fan club for our closing song, I Got You Babe. Dressed in a mini version of our outfits, Chastity would wander on stage, and I'd pick her up and hold her in my arms as she waved shyly at the audience. She just seemed to get it. Our easy viewing show became a Monday night institution as the families of America tapped into our vibe and turned us into a top 10 hit, pulling in millions of viewers at a time. I feel like you can hear like a struggle in my voice. That's just because I've been crying so much lately, but it usually just takes a few days. If I can stop crying, it'll get better. Yes, Happy New Year to you. Someone described us as television's favorite odd couple and the unlikely darlings of prime time. The television network carried out endless market research, and the verdict was that most people thought I was talented and beautiful with fucking amazing clothes. But Sunny was the lovable one, the silly one, the giggling fool. Fair comment. Now that we were bigger than ever, Sunny was on a mission to keep us there. See, as a woman, like women, I can tell you from when I was a little girl, and I would love to watch beauty pageants, like Miss America, that would air like once a year, Miss USA. And like I know like once like my babysitter, she would love to want to watch it too, and like any other woman around, like it's a thing like to see the costumes. I wanted to see what the ladies were wearing, and like to wear something so special and so like a gown, you know. And that's why like you're gonna see in the awards seasons coming up real soon. I think the Golden Globes are like what, this week or next week. And then you have Oscars. The women like love to see the outfits. Like I guess I was gonna ask, like, is there like a similar for men? Like, I don't know, do men watch like what other men wear besides Jordan Peterson and be like, oh wow, look what he's wearing, or look at that. I don't know. Or I guess is it just like what kind of for Terry it'd be like what kind of bike that they drive? CES, what is that? God no. What is the name of those suits that begin with the letter S? That's supposed to be like an expensive brand, because I saw someone say like, oh yeah, him and his suit, and I forget when I heard it. That begins with the letter S. I can't think of it. But it means like money. I don't know. I couldn't tell the difference. I could not. Oh my God, thank you, Jerry. Welcome, new member. Oh, and I get hearts. Thank you. I got 3 members on my first day of membership. Can you believe that? Now that we were bigger than ever, Sonny was on a mission to keep us there. It wasn't enough to have cash to burn. He wanted to make us so much money that he knew he'd never have to cook meals in a motel room again. I don't blame him. Ditto. When we were down, we might as well have had losers stamped to our foreheads. Then, the moment we were back, everyone wanted to be our new best friend. And spent all this time talking about the show and the latest deals he'd made. He seemed to be turning into one of the suits we'd always made fun of, as if being an entertainer wasn't enough for him anymore. He wanted to be a mogul. I was starting to miss the smiling Sicilian who'd rest Chaz on one hip as he stood at the stove stirring pasta sauce. When Sonny started smoking cigarellos, I felt compelled to challenge him. Really, son? I cried the first time I saw one jam between his lips. You're smoking fucking cigars now? Bee line, because bees move with purpose to their destination. In other words, directly and quickly. Look at this bee expert over here. You know what? Now that I'm looking at the phone, I'm gonna freaking look up what the name of those suits are. Let's see. Tell me if you've heard of this. The heck? Okay, how about this? This will be easier. What? What? I cannot find it because what's coming up, it's all this like bespoke for some like special reason. If they have like diamond buttons or something. And then there's, if someone famous wore it. And I think a lot comes down to the tailoring, but there was like this name I had heard it once, and I don't know why I can't seem to, but I guess that just goes to show just knowing the name would show what an expensive suit maker is. Let's see. But anyway, suits. Seville, could it be this? Savile Row? Savile Row. That's got to be it. Savile Row Company, London's tailoring heritage. So, because I feel like it began with an S, right? So it was Savile Row suit. I think that's it. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I'm back. You know when you just like have to know something? So does Sunny walking around with a Savile Row suit? Are you reading today? No, I'm just looking up fancy men's suits. Yes, she's reading. Supreme, no. Hey, yeah, I guess that would be one. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, he was smoking cigars. He looked up at me that day as if I were a 16-year-old and said, "Why don't you go buy yourself something?" I told myself he was tired, like me, and just overworked, but I was starting to feel that something was wrong. I reasoned that money changes people sometimes. Like some people you see, like people even say that with like influencers. Like once they start making money, it's like, who are you? You were just to be so different. So Sonny, he kept becoming different, although it seems like he was always kind of a douchebag. I reasoned that we still performed so well together, even if our time at work had become more fulfilling than our home life. Where had all the fun gone? Instead of spending as much time as possible with me and Chaz, who missed him terribly, Sonny and our lawyer Irwin lost hours in meetings puffing on their cigarillos while booking more gigs, discussing new contracts, and negotiating bigger record deals. Sonny loved playing playing the big boss man, the wheeler dealer. He didn't want to be just an entertainer anymore. That felt beneath him now. Gone was the happy-go-lucky Salvatore Bono that I first fell for at Aldo's coffee shop, and it bothered me who he was becoming. All starting with the cigar. See, maybe people should just like skip the whole like vaping. You know, like what do they start doing there? Like 18, and just can you imagine some like kid with like a cigar? Like I just decided to move right up to cigars. Like, are you puffing on a cigar? Could you imagine like you walked into your kid's room and he starts hiding something? It's like, what are you doing? And it's cigars. I don't know. It just seems odd. Okay, where was it? He even set up sounds like the beginning of the end of their marriage. He even set up something called the Benevolent Army of El Primo, in which everyone, including me, was issued a nylon jacket embroidered with their name and rank. That's kind of cute, though, with like a little skirt. He was the self-styled El Primo. Oh, of course. And I was prima donna, while his primaderas or primadettes had stripes on their epaulettes to signify their status, from private to sergeants. I had the most for my years of service. Our growing staff received a letter telling them that they'd been accepted to serve under his supreme dictatorship and could rise through the ranks to win a bronze, silver, or gold Sunny style mustache with the proviso your conduct is expected to be no less than excellent and will be judged by your performance under his supremeness. Oh my God. Oh my God. Because you know what? If I worked for anyone and I got this message, your conduct is expected to be no less than excellent and will be judged by your performance under his supremeness, I would just quit right there. Unless, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so here's the thing. Like, now on my YouTube studio, like it says like, oh, what people that watch you, what they watch. And it's like a bunch of like 4-year-old children. Like I haven't clicked on the videos, but you could see. So I don't know if they're playing jacks. Is that still a thing? Is that hip with the 4-year-old jacks? Or fat people cleaning, or like like haggard people cleaning. And I'm like, listen, you ain't gonna see that. If anything, you're gonna see men dressed up like maids for me. I'll get you something cute to wear, and then and only then you'll get told that your conduct is expected to be no less than excellent and will be judged by your performance under her supremeness, mistressness. And that's just to have fun with you. But other than that, no, you ain't gonna see that shit. The idea was funny and the message tongue in cheek, but I was the one living with El Primo. I never wore that jacket, but I still do have it. Work was a safe zone. We never ever fought on that set, but at home, Sonny seemed to be disconnecting from me. One night, I was watching something on television about abortion and casually commented that I thought women should be allowed a choice. He snapped at me almost as much as he did the time I told him I was unhappy, or after the Dirty Dozen when he told me I liked it because I was sexually frustrated and yelled, "Let me out of the car." Whenever he got mad like that, it just made me shut down. Even though he never laid a hand on me, I never understood why. I didn't talk back or fight with him, but I just knew I couldn't win. You learn after a long enough period of time that it's not worth it. Spending time with Chaz, my love of fashion, and being in the CBS family kept me going, but I was still only in my 20s. I longed to have my own opinions and make some friends. I was starting to feel so closed in. We didn't go to dinners, concerts, or movies, except the Dirty Dozen and The Graduate. All I did was go. All I did was work, go shopping, and spend time with Chaz. Then something came along that I wanted more than anything. Tony Curtis's Homely Hills mansion had just gone on the market. It reminded me of all the fun we'd had with Tony going to dinners and dancing at the factory, which was packed with every star imaginable. Tony was so social, and he loved both Sonny and me. And thank God Sonny loved him and spending time with him enough to go out. That house represented happy memories for me. I broke down in tears asking Sonny if we could buy it. Cher's so funny. She's like, I never asked for anything except huge, glorious Hollywood mansions, and that's all. Like, Cher. A safety word. Clean the goddamn floors. A safety word. Get on all fours and put some muscle in it like you mean it. Mama's got a broken hand right here. I'll give you special treats. We're going to live in this house one day, I told Sonny that night, 5 years earlier, when we sped through the open gates and climbed the hill to the first mansion we'd ever seen. Okay, bud, if you say so, he replied, laughing. He wasn't laughing the day I drove him crazy, begging him to purchase the real deal. In the 10 years we'd been together, I rarely cried or asked for anything. I didn't have to ask more than the one time. Sonny wanted the house too. It was a gargantuan symbol of how we come back and triumphed. See, you know what? I could see that. I could see something like a house, for example, having the importance symbolically to you of like feeling like you need that. Like, it doesn't have to be a house. It could be a car. It could be a watch. It could be, but usually to show like other people, but also feel like you're showing it that you are not what they thought you were or what they said you were, like, or the limits that they thought. Like, I think I could see that being important, especially somebody that's gone through like a hard time. Like, so them getting this house, I could see the emotional need for that, and. I didn't have to ask more than one time. Sunny wanted the house too. It was a gargantuan symbol of how we come back in triumph. It felt like my I'll never go hungry again Scarlett O'Hara moment. I hoped this shiny castle on the hill would change things. Like many women, I was so blind. As opposed to the house on St. Cloud, which was completely empty when we moved in, we had the big house redecorated by our friend Ronnie Wilson. So it was decked out. He went on buying trips to Europe, filling it with antiques and damask oil paintings and cut crystal for a fraction of the price it would have cost in America. God, it was stunning. There was a large guardhouse, a tack room that had once been part of the stables, riding trails, and a staff wing as big as a house. I'd had Chastity's bedroom decorated in the way I'd imagined to be every little girl's dream, pink and white with beautiful wooden carvings in the ceiling corners, a dusky pink carpet, a painted wrought iron canopy bed with white netting and fabric walls decorated with little men dressed in pink. It's like how I want my room to be with a pink canopy bed. You know what? One day would be nice if I could get like a pink carpet in here. That would be nice. But you know what? This blanket is fine, and I could just get a pink blanket and throw it on here if I see one at the thrift. But I just mean, like, little girls' rooms are so cute. In the corner sat a life-size lion that Hef gave her when she was born. There was no accounting for taste because very early on she claimed that the tack room was her favorite space. She called it Dracula's hideout. Go figure. The kitchen was my least favorite room because it was so dark and industrial. It was a working kitchen, so there was nothing pretty about it. And it was so far away that a previous owner claimed you could starve to death just trying to get there. The upstairs was as lovely as I remembered it, though, and I had my own walk-in closets for my clothes and shoes. Our bedroom had a yellow theme with a mahogany four-poster bed and walls covered in fabric. The paneled library was my favorite space and one of the smallest. It had two leather sofas and a beautiful mahogany bookshelves that we filled with books we had no time to read. I couldn't wait to show the house to my sister and my mother. Jackie Jean Crouch, now Georgia Holt, could never have imagined back in Arkansas that she ever crossed the threshold of a place like that. Neither could I. Walking around, admiring everything, my beautiful mom with her fabulous hair, chic clothes, and elegant posture fit right in. That was quite a moment for us both. From the moment we bought it, we called the house on Carrollwood Drive the big house. I will never forget the day we moved in when those wrought iron gates opened and I looked up at this 12,200 square foot, 9-bedroom, 10 bath mansion. Oh my God. Can you imagine having to clean all that though? The dust webs. My first thought was, oh God, I'm going to have to live with him for the rest of my life to pay for this. Despite having the most gorgeous home, Sonny never wanted to throw parties or invite friends and family over unless it was for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Chastity's birthday. When he pulled out all the stops, not that I had any friends of my own to invite, Sonny had stopped Joey from coming around, but never gave me an explanation other than hanging out with girlfriends was dumb. Joe D was long gone and suing us for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I wasn't allowed to fraternize with the band. That left my sister, Georgianne, who was busy making her own way as an actress. Bored and lonely, there were a couple of times when I was so mad at Sonny that I almost defied him. The night he burned my tennis gear, and the day Brian Wilson's wife, Marilyn, invited me over for a Tupperware party. Sonny and I kept in touch with Brian since our Gold Star days and were delighted when he married his childhood sweetheart, Marilyn. Thinking that an all-female event at her house to sell kitchenware couldn't possibly be considered subversive, I accepted her invitation, only to be told that I couldn't go. What? Why not, Sonny? I asked, tears prickling my eyes. They're my friends. They're just girls. What is he gonna say? They be hiding dildos in them Tupperwares. What? There's like nudie pictures of men in those Tupperwares. There won't be any men there. Why the hell couldn't I go to a party in the afternoon, for goodness sakes? There was no threat. He looked at me and said, "There's no reason for you to go to a Tupperware party. It's dumb." It was like he thought such an event was beneath me, beneath Cher. But it was not something he should have been able to tell me I could go or couldn't go to. It was a breath of fresh air when a 21-year-old named Paulette walked into my life one fine day in June 1972 at an event 20 miles north of Washington, D.C. The moment we met, she spoke to me in Armenian, "In Chepes is, how are you?" And I replied, "Laviem, I'm fine." Those are two of the only three phrases I know in Armenian, the last being "I love you." When Paulette explained that her surname was Kiazarian and her parents were of Armenian descent, we felt instantly connected. She was 4 years younger than me, and her life seemed like something out of a movie. The daughter of a former intelligence officer in World War II who became a founding member of the CIA. She lived all over the world, from Africa to the Middle East. After leaving high school, she did some modeling before traveling with a surf team based in Hawaii. She been to Woodstock in a camper and visited exotic places like Puerto Rico and Corfu. Eventually tired of spending her days being stoned at a beach, she'd gone home to visit her family in Washington with no idea what she was going to do next. As part of a deal Sonny made for us that month, we were playing in the round at the Shady Grove Music Fair in Gaithersburg, Maryland. The wacky but enormously funny Steve Martin. Oh my God. Jerry sent me a clip of Steve Martin the other day talking to, I have no idea, but what I watched, but I can't stop thinking about it ever since. It's like a woman singing, but it's a doll. No, but it's a brain in a jar, and the jar is like sing, and then the scene ends, and I'm like, wait, what? What was going on? What happened? What was that? What did I just watch? Why did you choose this to send me? I don't understand. Jerry, what the hell? Your chat is being glitchy. Huh. Let me try to come back in, see if there's anything I missed. I'm still on the soup page. Pull you back up. Saville Row. Saville Row. I hope I'm even saying that right. The man with two brains. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It was a venue we played before, but now that we were television famous, we were expected to attend a meet and greet before the show with congressmen and other dignitaries. When I walked in with Chastity and wandered over to a table of food to find some of her favorite cheesy goldfish, I spotted Paulette immediately because she stood out from the crowd, striking with a deep tan and long brown hair. She was wearing a black tank top and bell bottoms with gold chains. Intrigued, I went over and asked, "Who are you? You don't look like anybody here." Looking around at the suits, she laughed and replied, "Well, no." Bubbly and open, she explained that she was only at the gig because she knew the owner of the venue. The night the next night, Paulette was back, this time on the arm of our road manager, Jerry Ridgway. They made a beautiful couple. Sunny had a rule that our male crew couldn't bring random women on the tour, only steady girlfriends. So Ridgway said she was and asked if she could accompany us to our next gig. When Sunny agreed, I was delighted because I was so starved for female companionship. Neither of us could have imagined that from that chance encounter, we'd end up becoming best friends for over 50 years, our lives intertwining in all kinds of strange and complicated ways. When we went to New York, my new girlfriend was there too with Ridgway, all of us staying at the St. Regis Hotel. We hung out, went shopping, and hit it off immediately. We liked the same things. We had a similar sense of humor. Paulette taught me so much, and I couldn't hear enough about her amazing adventures. As with many of my friends, she adopted a pet name for me because it was impossible to use my name in public without turning heads. To Paulette, I will always be Cherylina, and to me, she is Polly. Whatever we did, it was fun, and she knew how to carry herself. She never got overwhelmed when people would come up to me on the street or take my picture when we were out. Maybe it's because she'd been in Washington, but she handled it all perfectly. Sonny didn't seem to mind that I had a friend, probably because he thought Polly was too young and not as smart as he was, so he never considered her a threat. In our world, she was naive, and in her world, I was naive. Sonny knew he'd be able to control her too. What he didn't bargain for was that hearing about her adventures threw my own situation into sharper focus. I didn't want her life. I just was starting to wonder if I wanted mine. Polly has always been a warm, fun person who still acts like a teenager. I couldn't help but admire her. She reminded me of my mom's best friend, Jake, who was open and always joking. Having Polly for company changed everything for me, and I was happier still when she flew back to LA with us and moved in with Ridgway, who was living in Malibu. Paulette openly admired my life, believing that Sonny and I had the perfect marriage with the perfect child, that I had a perfect wardrobe and was living in a perfect world. She had no idea of the tension building up inside me. In truth, I'm gonna hit them. Betty, let's go fishing. You ever go fishing? I feel like I played Go Fish like the card game. Why you got to fish? I like salmon. You got to catch a big trout. You catch a big, hold on, what do you call it? What kind of fish you catch? She had no idea the tension building up inside me. In truth, I was finding it hard to eat and to sleep. Weight was falling off me. For Paulette's birthday, she had chicken cordon bleu, which I love. I remember trying to get myself to eat it, and I couldn't take a bite. That scared me. The confusing thing was that although I was deeply unhappy, I still loved Sonny, but I was no longer in love with him. Good. We were an amazing team on TV, but at home things were falling apart. He didn't notice me anymore, so he didn't see it. We were madly in love for the first few years and entertained each other endlessly, but the Sonny and Cher show changed him beyond recognition. I was able to live with him because I compartmentalized my feelings and was used to censoring what I said and did around him. Since we'd been together since I was so young, I knew the rules on how I should behave not to cause any problems. We'd been like a sister and brother, father and daughter. We'd been partners, family, and we had the same dream. That kept us together, but he didn't seem to care how I felt anymore or that I had even emotions. He was indifferent toward me, too busy trying to make an empire and be a mogul. With my anxieties mounting, I had never felt more stressed, but I didn't have any idea what I could do. I was starting to feel trapped. I didn't know how I could go against him or stand up for myself. I honestly didn't know how. It was a bitch, okay? And to top it all off, I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't trust anyone because I was so afraid that something I said would get back to Sonny. So I just needle pointed myself to death. It was how I kept my mind occupied. I knew that the consequences of breaking away from Sonny would be enormous, not only for me, but for Chaz, who adored her father, and I had no desire to have more children with him, although oh, thank you, Jerry. But also, it's got to be hard to consider separating when you're so public and you literally have a show with both your names in it, you know? You have to be like, I don't know. I feel like the Beckmans, you know, like Victoria and David Beckman, that they either have to be like really in love or they're staying together out of spite to show everyone. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're known as a couple. How are you going to separate? But I'm telling you, Beyonce may be coming. Beckham, whatever. This is America. We say Beckman or whatever. Did my best as her mother. They always had a special secret kind of relationship that didn't include me. He would joke with her the way he used to with me when he and I had first gotten together. Sonny had made up some of his own words. One he used a lot was no Sampian, which meant no thank you. He didn't really use his made up words with me anymore, but he did with Chaz. He treated our daughter like the son he'd always wanted and called her El Primo Jr. That's interesting. That's interesting. Toward the end of October 1972, we had an especially busy time taping 2 shows back to back. So that we could perform in Reno, I was ready to drop, but instead we had to fly to Las Vegas to play 2 gigs a night in the Sahara Hotel's Congo room. something we'd done on and off since spring. Paulette flew out to join us in Vegas, and I'd never felt more in need of a friend. She loved being with us and helped me in all sorts of ways, from getting magazines and my favorite candy to helping me into my gowns. After our shows, she'd walk me to my room where I'd peel off my eyelashes and ask her what she was going to do that night. She'd tell me some variation of, I don't know, go to the bedroom of one of the guys in the band and drink beer, smoke pot, and pass around guitars. It's not that exciting, Cher. Soon after she arrived, she and I went looking for Sonny to ask him if I could go to a fair that the rest of the band were going to. Even though he never listened to any new music and wouldn't let me play it at home, I thought he might come along and was excited. I found him in our apartment suite talking business with Dennis and Irwin, discussing how much money we'd made. So I said, "Oh, great, let's go to Europe." Sonny looked at me with a frown and said, "Why? You can't make any money in Europe." "No," I said. "I thought we could go on vacation." He rolled his eyes and said, "Cher, come on." It didn't occur to him that I might need a break. Then he called me over to sign something, saying, "We got a contract with Caesars." I just sighed to myself and thought, there's no we here. I had no say in the decision, and the thought filled me with absolute dread. In that moment, I couldn't articulate my feelings, so I just said, okay, and signed a new contract for us to perform in Vegas every summer for God knows how many years, tying us to something I didn't want to do because touring so much felt like it was killing me, and I knew Chastity was suffering too. The realization that my husband would always put business first over me and my feelings winded me. All of a sudden, I was pissed off, frightened, and felt completely trapped. Well, why did you sign it then? You didn't have to do that. Remembering why we'd come, I forced a smile and said, "Hey, all the guys in the band are taking their girlfriends to this fair. It sounds like fun. Want to go?" He barely looked up at me and said, "No, just go with Ridgway and Paulette." From then on, I started to feel hopeless and soon desperate. Between the signing at Caesars, shutting down the idea of a vacation, and telling me to just go with Ridgway and Paulette to the fair, I felt pretty much defeated. After our shows, I could hear music rising from the busy hotel below through my open French doors. There I was, 26 years old, and in what had become a loveless marriage. Sonny had given me the vehicle and the confidence to become the somebody my mother always told me I would be. And then he just lost interest. Mom had called me selfish, and so had he. Perhaps they were right. Or maybe I wasn't the selfish one. Maybe it was them. I stepped barefoot onto the balcony of our suite and stared down. I was dizzy with loneliness. I saw how easy it would be to step over the edge and simply disappear. For a few crazy minutes, I couldn't imagine any other option. I did this 5 or 6 times, and each time I think about Chaz, about my mother, about my sister, about everybody, and how things like this can make people who look up to me feel that it's a viable solution, and I would step back inside. Wow, that's really sad. I know for myself, I I had gotten that low recently, and I had looked it up, and I had every single marker for a person who was vulnerable to commit that, except for one, which was that I felt I was a burden to others. Um, but like there's like feelings of like obviously deep sadness, shame, anger, feeling hopeless, feeling unbearable, like feeling emotional pain that will never get better, that you feel will not get better. Um and yeah, those are ones. When you lose something, when you feel a loss, like when you feel like just at all of that, and it was like, but what kept me always going was like you guys, that was like because one thing was like feelings of worthlessness, like that you don't have any value, and you don't matter, and like I would just think of like you guys like Jerry, Terry, Joe, like the people that stay with me and be like, well, they stay with me, so like they want to hear me read tonight, like I have to have some value, like um but yeah, like that would be like the only thing. Anyway, I'm just saying it's hard to think share, like you like for you guys like on this channel don't know, but like before I got partner on this channel like last week, and when I was on one of my other channels that got banned, I was desperate and crying and like when I didn't even know that millions of people were robbing me, I was thinking of the lowest. I was like things that I like I'm completely celibate. You know what I mean? And I have horrible OCD. Like I can't stand people touching me. I can't. But I was considering like the worst, like doing illegal things, shameful, like are so against my morals. Like, is this what I have to do to survive? I'm ill. Like I'm disabled. I can't work a regular job. Like that was where I was before I got partner here. Like, so it was really bad. Like, and this was like, what was this, like a couple weeks ago, Anyway, it didn't come to that, but, and then when I almost lost my dog, anyway, so I feel like you're literally like my idol, that you would feel like that, but I could understand people get low. Yeah. Sunny is kind of reminding me of Joe Jackson. Oh yeah, like the Jackson 5. Yeah. And you know what's so weird? It's like Janet, she still talks highly of him. She still will not say ill of Papa Joe, and it's like it's because he did force to make her to make the family, get out of that poverty, and they had to work so hard, but then it also was abusive, really. They didn't think of it at the time as abusive as it was, but you know what I mean? It's like, Janet, just not a great father. Anyway. Okay, so she's depressed. I think about Chaz, about my mother, about my sister, about everybody, and how things like this can make people who look up to me feel that it's a viable solution. And I would step back inside. Then one morning, everything changed. That night, between shows, I went out on the balcony again. And this time I thought, I don't have to jump off. I can just leave him. Paulette was oblivious to what was Darth. Are you go grab a switch, boy. Go get a switch right now, boy. That's what I gotta say to you. And if you say no, then you should feel ashamed for what you just said. Come on. That man was not a good father. And where was the mother either? Because she should have been preventing a lot of that. The way they would work kids, poor little Michael. Paulette was oblivious to what was going on beneath the surface. And the next day, she chatted on about what she'd been up to in LA, but I was tuned out. Then she casually mentioned that Bill, a young guitar player who joined our band, had asked for an 8x10 photo of me from the office. I thought nothing of this because people ask for photos of me all the time. It wasn't unusual. She added that she had also spotted Bill trying to draw my likeness on an etch-a-sketch the band had, which I thought was sweet. Laughing, she said, I do believe that Bill may have a crush on you, Charolina. Bill was the total opposite of Sunny. Oh. What does that mean? Even though they were both Aquarians, Bill was tall with a Texas drawl and 21 years old. I knew he was good at electric guitar because I noticed him playing my riffs back to me one night when we performed the Carpenters' Superstar. I thought, God, he's really good, and he's really listening to me. I'd shut down the romantic side of myself and thought nothing of this except that he was talented. Oh, yeah, right. You used to go and take your index finger or your pointer finger and go into a place alone and think about Bill. My God, Jerry. So you look at Darth, Jerry's being the dad that you always wanted. I still didn't think anything of it when I heard from Paulette that Bill and his girlfriend hadn't slept together in months, and I found myself asking his girlfriend to join us at the Caesar's Palace Spa that afternoon to find out if it was true. Daryl! Okay. They've been working him all year. Which it was. I didn't have any plan. I was just acting in each moment as it came. I still hadn't been able to really eat or sleep, and I weighed 98 pounds on the first day of my period. A little later, Polly casually mentioned that between our two shows that night, she and the rest of the band were going to see the Righteous Brothers play at the nearby Hilton Hotel. You see how she says 98 pounds on the first day of my period? That's because if you're in your girl time, like, depending on, there can be variations, I guess, but you can gain, it's like 10, 15 pounds and lose it all, like, just in the lining of your uterus. and also, like, bloating, and it could be, certain things you're eating at the time that, like, more salty, and then, I don't know, but, like, and then you're like, I feel fat and I hate myself. And then if you're like me, people that are exploiting you and your body online and stealing from you will make fun of you for having that time of the month. So it's just like wonderful. It's just wonderful. It sucks. So she's saying that, like, on the first day of my period, meaning that, like, she's even lighter. Like, if it wasn't the first day of her period, like, she's even lighter than that. Like, she's not doing well. The band was going to see the Righteous Brothers play at the nearby Hilton Hotel. After our first show ended, without thinking, that's a heavy. Well, it's a lot. There's a lot of water. If you have salt, don't you guys watch, like, with wrestlers and stuff? And when they want to, like, weigh less, and they it's not recommended, but to be, like, less hydrated. Well, if your body is deliberately holding water, it's holding it on, and then, you know what I mean? It's just like water pounds, yeah, for a lot of it. After our first show ended, without thinking, learn about the female body, okay? Without thinking, I ran off stage and changed my clothes, slipping on jeans and a t-shirt. Sun came in, and yeah, of course you know about water weight because you like them Pringles. You be eating a whole can of Pringles, and then you be drinking your Gatorade with it, and then don't tell me if you don't have extra water that day on you. But those Pringles be good. Those sour creams, they be good. After our first show ended, without thinking, I ran off stage and changed my clothes. Slipping on jeans and a t-shirt, Sun came in, and as he was taking off his tuxedo, I was rounding the corner out the door and called out, "I'm going to see the Righteous Brothers with Polly and Ridgway." And then I was off down the hallway. I didn't wait around for his reply. He called after me, "Are you crazy?" But I was already gone. She's like, "I'm done with this shit. I'm doing my own thing." A tuna milkshake. Ew. What? You guys, let me tell you something that tastes like a milkshake. Have you guys ever had one of them? Oh my god, you're still on Joe Jackson. Okay, guys, do not allow Darth to have any children. I repeat, we must castrate Darth. We need to get him alone and clip off his testicles. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. You ever have one of those Fairlife? What's it called? Core. It's like a protein drink, but it's actually called a milkshake. That thing tastes like just a vanilla milkshake. And if you need to keep up your strength, I haven't had the chocolate one, so I don't know if that tastes like chocolate milkshake. I can't recommend something I haven't had. But if you need like to keep up your strength or take vitamins or like and something that tastes like good that you will want to have. But I will tell you, like, they could be expensive. Like, at least in my local store, they're expensive, but you really feel better. But anyway, if you ever have, you need your if you ever have a chance to try one, you know, like you're checking out the 7-Eleven or something and you see one and it's like a markdown and you're considered, try it. Or if you're in the mood for a milkshake, they're so good. And I think Fairlife is all like lactose free stuff. I don't have a problem with like lactose or whatever, but there was a while that people would be like so against milk and be like, that's what makes a little cow a big cow. Nobody should be drinking any milk. But to me, I don't get irritated with milk. No, I do drink your shakes, but I run out. Yeah. Anyway, why not both? If you ever run out of your shakes and you're on the road, Daryl, you try one. Look, I just give out reviews. It's all okay. Anyway, she's becoming defiant to Sunny now. I was already gone. I hurried toward Paulette's room, running into all the guys in the band on the way as they were coming off stage, and we all went together to the Hilton Casino Lounge. My heart was pounding the whole night. The lounge had tables with horseshoe boots. Bill's girlfriend slid in first, and one of the guys sat down at the end next to her. Then Bill slid in on her other side, and then me. As I was scooting over to sit alongside him, Bill grabbed my arm and pulled it so hard that I smashed right into him, and his leg was pressed close to mine. When he put his hand on my knee, I thought, well, that's unexpected. To this day, I don't know how he was so bold. There was just enough time for me to run from the lounge act in the Hilton to our second show at the Sahara, which was in my favor because Sonny didn't have time to start a fight. There he was, waiting in a fury. "You are in so much trouble, Cher," he yelled. "Are you out of your mind?" "No, Sonny, I'm not," I replied, far more calmly than I felt. Dressing quickly as he carried on giving me a tongue lashing, ignoring him, I ran straight onto the stage ahead of him, still buttoning up my pants. I felt somewhat out of body as I kept acting without any kind of plan, and I still hadn't eaten much of anything. It was as if I were knocking over dominoes one after the other. I just kept going, even though I had no idea where I got the nerve. Once the show was over, I barely took my bows, and Sonny and I exited in different directions without a word. Running in the dressing room, I dropped my clothes, and by the time he had joined me and was trying to talk to me, I was dressed and out of there. He was so shocked. He was totally unprepared. He didn't know where I was going or what I was going to do. I found Paulette and I told her, I want to do what you do after the show. She looked at me like I was crazy and said, Sunny would never allow you in that room. No, it's okay. I lied. I got permission. Paulette eyed me with suspicion but sighed. If you say so. She took me to the drummer, Jeff Porcano's room. Everybody was happy to see me, but they were nervous as hell. They couldn't figure out how I'd escaped and worried that they were going to pay for it with Sunny, just as she described. Our guys were sitting around smoking, drinking, and hanging out in a way I hadn't enjoyed in years. I was sitting there with everyone when Bill showed up. He sat for a while talking with the guys, then stood up slowly and said, I'm going to the lobby to get some smokes. Making a split-second decision, I jumped up and said, Okay, I'll go with you. I need a magazine. Paulette did a double take, and fearful of the fallout, she protested, But I just bought you every magazine they have. To which I replied, Baby, there's a popular mechanics you missed, and left. She wants to be with Bill. As Bill and I wandered down the lobby and outside toward the casino entrance, I asked him, Are you really going to get cigarettes? He nodded. I said, Well, I'm not going to get magazines. He stopped with a huh? So I spelled it out for him. I'm only coming along because I wanted to be with you. Shocked, he started walking around me in a big circle and did that a couple times. I think his mind had been blown in the literal sense of the words. I could see him thinking a million conflicting thoughts, like, what does this mean? What is she saying? What's going to happen? Will I lose my job or more? We walked on into the casino and past the slot machines to a stand selling cigarettes, where we ran straight into David Brenner, the stand-up comedian who was our opening act. He almost passed out at the sight of me on my own in public with Bill, me with a guy by myself. He might as well have seen Frankenstein with Dumbo. David came up to us, kind of shaky, saying, Hi guys, what are you doing? David and Sunny were really close, and I figured he wouldn't want to be the one to break this to him. I replied coolly, Oh, we're just buying cigarettes. David looked so nervous, but I'd already done it. I kicked over the can. Milk was spilled. Bill bought his smokes and then said, I don't want to go straight back to the room. He didn't say it in a sexy way. It was more that he was confused, like, I don't want to go back to a room full of people right now. I didn't say anything. He showed me outside to a big brick wall behind the hotel. This is where we all come to get high before the show, he told me. I nodded. We leaned against the wall quietly side by side. Then Bill suddenly blurted, We all wonder how you can live this way. It was the first time anyone ever said this to me, and I didn't know how to react. I never thought other people would notice, and the idea of everyone in the group talking about it made me embarrassed. Then Bill pulled me toward him and kissed me. Oh, 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 oh. Will Cher tell about her affairs? Oh, I have a feeling we're about to hear about her affair. Do you think she did other men will marry her? I don't know. We'll see. I know she talks about Dumbo all the time. Okay. Let's see. I felt like my head almost exploded off my shoulders. Bill was a great kisser. Oh, you kissed him back. You were kissing him back, girl. But more than that, Sonny didn't like to kiss. This was what I'd imagined in 6th grade when I knew that kissing was in my future. We went back up to Jeff Porcaro's room, probably 20 minutes after having left, and sat down with everyone. Soon after, the phone rang, and it was Sonny. What do you think you're doing, Cher? Sonny asked. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Oh, I don't know, just hanging with the guys. You could have heard a pin drop in the room. Have you lost your mind? Come back to the room. I had no idea who I even was at that moment because I told him, well, Bill wants to understand more about his publishing rights, so I thought I'd bring him up to our suite. Oh my God. She's just lighting the whole thing on fire. I got up and Bill got up with me. I don't know what I was expecting. I said it like it was a thing, but I had no idea how Bill would react. If I were him, I would have been thinking, this is a bad idea. That's my boss upstairs. I'm not going up to your room. He had to have balls the size of something huge. When we walked into our suite, Sonny was waiting in a chair, staring at us in a complete silence. Bill had never seemed taller to me than when he stood beside me as we faced my husband. Could you go to the bedroom so we can talk? He asked Bill quietly, and Bill left the room. Still staring me down, Sonny looked different somehow, pinched, shaken. What are you doing? He asked. Well, he probably has a feeling, like your gut instinct or like you could get a feeling about things, like he knows something is wrong. But I didn't answer. Then he asked, genuinely curious, what do you want to do? I couldn't believe what came out of my mouth next. I remembered that Sonny had ruined the entire script of Chastity just because I was talking to my co-star. And I said, I want to sleep with Bill. What? What? That's what you say? Well, you know what? It's probably better that she didn't say make love. I feel like Bill's in the other room with like a cup, like a red Solo cup to the door, like, oh, okay. It all seems crazy now. I didn't mean it, but I thought saying those words was the only way that he would let me go. I'd already tried telling him I was unhappy using those words, and I had learned my lesson. I thought maybe this would work instead. I just wanted it to be over. The silence was deafening. Then he said, how long do you think you'll need? And looking back, I have no idea what made me say what I did next. 2 hours. This is so weird. I can't even wrap my head around what is happening. I guess it's less weird that he like cheated on her so much that it's like opening the marriage, but it's just so that whole concept is weird to me, Bill had big, beautiful ears. You did not. Poor Dumbo getting sexualized up in here. Oh my God. Okay. 2 hours. Okay. And meanwhile, Bill's in the other room by himself with no clue what's going on. And I'm sure if he guessed for a million years, he wouldn't have thought that. Okay, Sonny said. And without another word, he got up and left the room. He's probably wanted to punch Bill, too. I walked into the bedroom where Bill was sitting up against the headboard with his legs outstretched, his ankles crossed, just sitting there smoking a cigarette. Oh, Bill, oh my God. I knew I just put him in jeopardy, and I knew that wasn't good. I sat down next to him. He was wearing a new leather jacket, and the smell of a leather jacket will remind me of him forever. But Cher, you wore a lot of leather in like the 80s and the 90s, so... I want his side of the story. Well, didn't Sonny die in like a skiing accident? It's like a tragic accident. Yeah, he cannot comment on the book. We know that at least. Not this book. Then we just started to talk, which I never did before because I didn't trust people not to go to Sonny. I don't know what made me drop my guard and open up to Bill that night, but I told him everything. He asked me, how did it get this way? What happened that you're living like this? I responded honestly, trying to figure out the answer as I gave it. We've been together since I was 16. Somehow it just happened. It just progressed. We were happy. Then at some point, he stopped caring. Bill asked, "How can you work with him every week?" I tried to find words that would make it make sense. "I'm so happy on the show," I told him. "Sonny cracks me up, and we're like two kids up there. There's no boss and there's no rules. It's just fun, and he acts like he used to when we were first together and in love. And it's like it's all good again." He couldn't understand it. I didn't understand it myself, but he listened. To this day, I can't believe I told a complete stranger everything about our private life. I acted purely on feeling because I felt that I might have an ally and I needed one. Bill was a 21-year-old guitar player and Sonny was Sonny of Sonny and Cher, not to mention 37 and his boss. Still, Bill came to the suite with me and then went onto the other room when Sonny told him to and waited. He could have left at any time. We didn't know each other at all. He didn't owe me anything. But he stayed, and I poured my heart out to someone I hadn't ever spoken to before. I didn't know his morals or his character. He could have gone straight to Sonny, but he didn't. "We all feel so bad for you," he told me. That's all that happened. We sat and we talked, and I cried. Nothing else. Both of us were so exhausted. Besides, I wouldn't have done that in my own bedroom. I don't care what I was going through. The next thing I knew, it was the middle of the night and Sonny was back. It was about 5 a.m. and he treated me very coldly. Devastated, I lay there and told myself, "That's the last time you are never going to do this to me again." I was so fucking angry. I knew then for sure that he didn't love me anymore. A little later, I was still half asleep when he came around my side of the bed. I picked up my hand and pulled my wedding ring off my finger. It took me a second to realize what he was doing, but I was too exhausted to care. I woke up in the late afternoon, still in a daze. There was no sign of Sonny, and I had no idea what I was going to do next. He and I were supposed to be on stage twice that night, but there was no way I could do that. When I went to see Chastity, I found her room empty and discovered that Sonny had sent her back to LA with a nanny. I was so angry that he'd done that. Another of his unilateral decisions exerting his control. I told Paulette to tell Bill I wanted to talk to him, and she told me he was leaving for Texas. I said, "When? I want to talk to him before he goes." By that time, it was getting dark. I jumped up and pulled on a long, thick sweater and a pair of boots. I was so out of it, I didn't put anything else on underneath. But Bill met me in the dressing room and asked if anything was going to happen with us. I said, "I don't know what's going to happen, period." Then I walked outside. For the next hour, I walked up and down the strip, trying to figure out where to go. But people recognized me and kept coming up asking for my autograph, saying, "Hey, Cher, what are you doing on the street?" Others told me how excited they were to see the show later. It was all so surreal. It was like being in a cheap Fellini set in Vegas, keeping my head down and trying not to cry. I sought refuge in an empty, overgrown lot just to get away. Eventually, I went back to the hotel to find Sonny. As I wandered the upper corridors of the Sahara looking for my husband, I repeatedly told myself, "I'm going to do this. I really am." I eventually found him, sulking in his dressing room, where I walked in and blurted, "Sonny, I need $500 in cash now." I only had charge cards and had no other way of getting hold of any actual cash. He just gave me the money. He didn't say anything. Ever since we'd first started living together, he'd been secretly convinced I'd leave him one day. Something he didn't properly tell me until years later, although he'd written it in a poem he gave me back when we were still working for Philip Spector. There was a line, "A butterfly to be loved by all, but not by one." But it was just poetry, and I was 17. When you're 17, what do you know about anything? On the day he knew that moment had finally come, he also realized There was nothing he could do to stop me. As I was leaving, he murmured something, but I just kept on walking. So he lobbed a final comment my way. America will hate you for breaking us up. Twisting back, I recoiled at what was such an obnoxious thing to say. But then it hit me. Oh God, that's probably true. He had rarely been wrong, and he knew that would sting because I'd always worried about what people would think. I loved the show, I loved the audience, but I just couldn't care anymore. He backed me into a corner, and I didn't know what else to do. Staring at him coldly, I told him, last night I didn't care if I was alive or dead. I went to my room and I packed a bag before hurrying to Ridgway's room, where I figured I'd be safe and Paulette might hide me. That's where I found Bill sitting on the couch. Ridgway and Paulette were going to drive him to the airport. Come with me, Cher, he begged. He was brave to ask, but I couldn't even think straight enough to give him an answer. I can't recall what happened next or in exactly what sequence, but something clicked inside me when I found out that Sonny had slept with Bill's girlfriend the previous night out of revenge. Whoa! My mind was going a mile a minute, and I suddenly blurted, Don't go to Texas, Bill. Come to San Francisco with me. Sonny gave me money for tickets. For some reason, the only place I could think of to escape to was Sausalito, the sleepy seaside town where Son and I once had a perfect foggy day together. I thought of it as a safe place, and at that point, I just wanted to feel safe. I deliberately didn't specify Sausalito in front of Polly and Ridgway because I didn't know what they would tell Sonny if he pressed. I was instinctively protecting myself by giving them plausible deniability. When Bill agreed, I borrowed a pair of sunglasses from Paulette, and Ridgway reluctantly pulled the rental car around to the back of the hotel where Bill and I jumped in. Sitting in the front seat, Paulette kept turning to see me cradled in his arms and said, I'm so happy for you. Shut up, Paulette, Ridgway snapped, his eyes full of fear in the rearview mirror. I'll probably lose my job for this. Do you not understand the ramifications here? And of course, he was right. I was one half of the most successful couple on television and the headline act at the Sahara, leaving it all a few hours before a sold-out performance. The gossip was flying everywhere. I don't recall the flight that evening or what Bill and I talked about, if anything. We arrived in San Francisco in the early hours and took separate cabs in case anyone spotted us. But then our drivers both got lost in the notorious Bay Area fog. Later, I discovered that Sonny sent private detectives to follow us, and they got lost too. There was no way he was going to let me go off on my own. Unable to find our way to the coast, Bill and I ended up back at the airport before eventually checking into some bullshit hotel around 4 a.m. When we walked into the lobby, the guy behind the desk jumped up and cried, Hey, Cher, wow, welcome. Where's Sonny? Oh, he's coming in the next plane with the rest of the band and the dancers. Bill stepped in and said, 2 rooms, please. After Bill let me into my room, I fell onto the bed and he lay down beside me and kissed me tenderly like before, although I could tell he was nervous this time. A little later, we made love. Who knew this was coming? We knew this was coming. And it was unbelievable. I knew then that I would never have sex with Sonny again. The next few hours were an odd mix of joy, relief, and exhaustion that ended abruptly when the telephone rang. The private detectives must have tracked us down and picked up the receiver to hear Dennis Pregnolato say, Cher, it'll be really bad for Bill if you don't come home right now. Okay, I replied, almost in a whisper. I'll be on the next flight. I got up immediately and flew to LAX on my own. It was the first time I'd been on an airplane or even in an airport alone, but I hardly realized. Meanwhile, Bill flew to Texas to avoid reporters. Bill was a quiet guy, but my God, he had some balls to go against Sonny Bono. He was dead set against my going back, but I knew I had to for his sake. I was still putting one foot in front of the other, hoping what I did was okay. The Sahara Hotel had put out a press release saying our show had been canceled because I was suffering from exhaustion and that the TV host Johnny Carson would fill in for us. The press immediately picked up on the news, and gossip columnists started a rumor that Sonny and I had a fight in Vegas and that I couldn't go on stage because I had a black eye. I don't know what Sonny told CBS, but that week we would be back filming the show, and somehow we were hysterical. It's difficult for me to describe what it was like to leave Sonny because I was so sleep deprived, hadn't eaten, was so confused, so upset, so in turmoil, not knowing what was going to happen next, not knowing what Sonny's reaction was going to be to anything. I'd taken each step based on instinct without any real thoughts in a kind of fog. But the truth is, once I started, there was no turning back. Almost delirious by the time I got back to the big house, all I wanted was to go to bed. But Sonny was there sitting on the top landing of the steps and looking really bad. I could see in his face he was also exhausted. I was too tired to care. Sonny told me, "You should apologize to Irwin." Irwin came to the house about an hour later, and I did apologize to him. It didn't occur to me how ridiculous that was. Irwin sat me down to discuss the legal implications of my walking out, with Sonny in the room the entire time. I barely knew Irwin and also didn't like him since, besides being generally an unpleasant man, he'd been responsible for both losing Joe D and the contract at Caesars. He explained very matter-of-factly that if I persisted with my disastrous course of action, I'd be in breach of all my contracts, potentially costing me millions. I told him I didn't care. I was too tired to deal with him. Then he asked me, "What do you want, Cher?" Nothing had prepared me for his question, and I hesitated for a moment, both Irwin and Sonny watching me think. Finally, finding my voice, I said, "I want a place in Malibu where I can go on weekends and $5,000 a month in my own checking account. If Sonny agrees, then I'll do the next show. If he doesn't, I won't." Sonny didn't bat an eyelash. I didn't know it then, but I could have asked for so much more and gotten it. I had no idea how afraid they were of me and what I might do. It really stuck in their minds that I said I didn't care. All those men in suits had me at their mercy for so long. Now I was telling them what I wasn't going to do. Irwin stared at me for a moment and then said, "Okay." Just like that, I couldn't believe it. Everything had changed in 48 hours. Feeling a flood of relief, I went to bed, where I passed out into a deeper sleep than I'd ever had before. The next thing I was aware of was a few hours later when Sonny came home and sat on the edge of the bed. He didn't say much and had the demeanor of someone who was beaten. He didn't even seem angry. He looked so gone, it occurred to me that he'd probably not eaten for days either. He sat down on the floor, and I was crying. He said, "What's the matter, bud?" I said, "I want to talk to Bill." And then I fell back asleep, still exhausted, and Sonny left. An hour or so later, his assistant, Sharon, shook me awake. "Bill's on the phone." She took me into the staff wing to take the call so Sonny wouldn't hear it. "I don't know what to do," I cried when I heard his voice. "Let me come to you. I don't want you to be alone." I told him I was getting a place at the beach, and he could come with me there. A week later, he took a cab to Sharon's. I picked him up there wearing a light turquoise suede outfit I just bought and drove him to my new condo in Malibu down the street from the restaurant Moonshadows. Polly had said to me, "You know, when you're in love, you wear pastels." Such a weird thing to say. In the days before Bill arrived, Irwin bombarded me with a list of stipulations to ensure that the Sonny and Cher loving public didn't find out our marriage was in trouble. We'd agreed not to publicize the news since we still had shows to finish, and at that point I wanted to do them. I was informed that I could use the place in Malibu when I chose, but was forbidden from being seen anywhere in public with a man. They tried to tell me I couldn't go out to restaurants or the movies, but I said that wasn't fair, So it was agreed that Paulette could pick me up and take me to the movies, but not out to dinner. I didn't care about any of that. I was free and had a bedroom of my own. Okay, that is the end of chapter 16. We'll pick it up on chapter 17 tomorrow. It's interesting. Chapter 16 was called I Will Always Love You, which I think it wasn't referenced at all in that. I thought maybe at the end of the chapter, maybe Sunny would have said it to her, but he didn't. But maybe it's just a reflection of her feelings for him. Like, I'll always love you. But anyway, chapter 17 is called We Can Work It Out. So I wonder what that's about. Like, do they try to reconcile? We'll see tomorrow. That was a long chapter. I'm trying to read what you guys said. The book sounds like a fantasy, a female empowerment fantasy. What? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Oh my god.
So, oh my god, and I did take a bath. And I don't know why this, from where they gave me that pain shot, is still there. Okay, Darth. This is her experience, okay? But also, she could have lied and said, like, she didn't sleep with him. She went, like, it's like, that's doesn't make her look great, but she's being honest about it. That's what you want. You want, like, just, like, give us the truth. Anyway, first of all, yeah, like, it's going to be mostly for the fans. It's a book about her life, but also, she when Sonny died, like, she's always loved him. She always spoke highly of him, and you'll probably see in the chapters to come her talk more of her feelings for Sonny. Like, it's not that he's, like, all bad or whatever. Like, I don't know. I guess what I mean is, like, of all things where you can make the other person look so bad, she doesn't really feel that way towards Sonny. She's trying to just be real, I think. But she did love him in her own way. But anyway, let me talk about my thoughts on this. So many women, like, there's this woman in Vegas, actually. So, Darth, maybe you would have seen her. What's her name? You know what? I could give you her name. Samantha something. What is it? Samantha some. All right, let me get my phone. Okay. It's janked up finger. Beauty Guru Samantha. No, not Ravendall. She's not. Does she go by Sam or something else? I could never afford anything from that Auric line. It's a makeup line. Let me see. Here we go. Samantha March. Look, here, the first picture I pull up, and it says, spills about her divorce. So, but this is really funny. She has, like, her face doesn't really look like, her skin doesn't look like that. But anyway, she's a beauty guru person, or was kind of. Anyway, the point is, so she gets a divorce, and apparently, like, she changed so much. I saw on the beauty guru forum. She gets a boob job. She starts, like, going to all these, like, Vegas parties, like, her whole personality changed, and I feel like some women go on this, like, craziness, like, after could be a marriage, maybe even, like, a breakup if they were together a long time, where they all of a sudden wanna, like, travel or do something crazy. I don't know, it's like but there's, like, a weird I don't know if men are the same way. I only know from, like, the beauty guru forum and different beauty gurus I saw, but I wonder if her being with this, like, Bill is, like and maybe if we'll see something else after to come. Maybe it is a little bit of that, like she said, out of body sort of, "Okay, I don't even know how I'm doing this step by step." I'm just like maybe it's a sort of going with because you kind of compartmentalize, I almost said disassociate, you sort of like, and just pretend you're like a different person almost, like a different take on this different personality, I guess. Can you unblock me? Are you blocked? Okay. Is that do you have the same name? Let me see. They burst you down. Oh, this is really burst. Nothing wrong with it. No, nothing wrong with empowerment, but um what I think what the keyword he said like fantasy. Like you'd rather it be like a real and I'm saying I think it is real. Like not like a fantasy. Um I don't think she ever got married again or okay, hold on. Hmm. Uh, yeah, I'm not seeing you here. I'm not seeing you here blocked at all. Your name, anything. Not seeing. Mhm. So and now you're asking? Oh, peak modest is your okay. I was like looking up Charles. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see you here at all either. You're not blocked. Nope. Nope. Maybe thinking of somebody else. Mhm. Sorry. Oh, detour there. Anyway, I thought that was exciting. It was a long chapter, but it had to get out how, from her recollection, that relationship ended. Um, and I think that it is a bit sad, but I do think like there was like cheating for a while. I think that this I'm sorry if you're offended, but I think that like open relationships aren't like real relationships. Like when she said that Sunny came back, like so he thought that she had slept with Bill. And he comes back in, like, the room or whatever that night, and she didn't know he's there, and then she says, "And that's when I knew he didn't really love me." I think what she means is, he was okay with me sleeping with somebody else, and so that's how I knew, like, I that he didn't really love me, and I just think that's, like, there's the break, like, he was with other people already, like, it's not real, and that he would be okay with her with someone else, even though I think he really was, like, upset that it was over. It was upset, he didn't want it to be that way, but it was like, "Alright, well, I was with other people, like, fine." Um, How many are you blocked from? I don't feel like I have that many people blocked. I know, like, I had this one person that really bothered me once. Um, they were specifically demanding, like, they followed other people, and I was kind enough to follow them. And I don't anymore, and they are, like, muted, which what I would consider that like a block. Um, for us, a kind of block. But um, they would come and ask me for pictures, videos, anything of me from before, which I found like oh, I'm gonna shake. Super creepy, like really, really creepy. Like talking about stuff as from when I was like a child. But, like, but he says there's nothing hotter than nostalgia, which first of all, what a fucked up opinion. Um, the asterisk, what the um, but I remember writing him, "I'm not fucking dead. Like, I am very much alive. This is rude as hell." And I didn't even block him the first time, but he's on there following other people and not me. And that would only come and write me to demand content, which is my least favorite word ever invented, ever of all time. Content of me as a kid. Like it was sorry. Okay, so there's like an essentially blog person. Um anything that comments, because there was somebody that commented on my weight. That's very that's very eating disorder triggering. And the thing is, I know that as a culture, we totally accept and um congratulate people on becoming eating disordered. Like it's really fucked up. And we'll be like, "Oh my god, you monitor every like calorie, macro, everything like you have a disorder, the most deadliest disorder known to man. Like a deadliest mental disorder known to man." Okay. But I'm very protective of anyone that would try to put the deadliest mental disorder like known to man to try to put that on me. And it can be given to you at people 8 years old being told like, really, you can have another cookie. You're like, so that type of stuff, I find it evil. Like I find it really evil, and I don't put that on me. And that's why I have to protect myself from becoming, because it's so easy to fall into it. And all of a sudden you start and you're looking and you're like, you can't eat, and then you're monitoring, or what are you gonna do to keep? And it's like, I want to be healthy. I want to have healthy body and healthy, and that involves literally, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Involves when you're feeding yourself, like you're literally giving yourself like the nutrients you need. You're like taking care of yourself. Um and that should not um come into your mind at all when you are what's the word um like take care of yourself, like you like should not come into your mind what another person thinks about your weight or something. You're like, you don't understand how dangerous, like literally red danger that is. So if you put that on me, I have to protect that. Like that's too dangerous. Um just seen so many people die, and so many people like suffer, and you're no. I was talking about a guy that thinks he's blocked, yet doesn't even know the page. So how many people blocked him? Is that it? Well, um, I'm just thinking like of the people blocked and why it would have. Uh, some people, um, someone joined my page and wrote me, "I jerk off to you every day." Can I say that? I probably well, whatever, I said it. Um, and that kind of concerned me because it was like, you just joined, so I had to tell myself maybe they lost their password, but they were there before, because you know what I'm getting at. It's like, are they telling me that they've robbed me and violated me and did like then that would have been like a block. That would have been like a whole horror. But I had to you have to give the benefit of the doubt that it's possible that it wasn't like the worst case scenario, you know? So, but I consider at first a block, like, how could you do that? But you don't know that for sure. So if I knew for sure, then I think I would block because I would feel too sick to my stomach about that person. Creepy to say, yeah. Oh, and anybody that's like when I first joined, actually, people would ask me. I have to think about how to phrase this because I don't want to get in trouble, but um, to meet up and have some fun, and they would pay me. Yeah, that's a block. That's what they're saying is like me. Okay, I hear there are girls overseas, like, specifically in the UK, that you just gotta be one of 1,000. You just gotta, like, I don't know, have, like, a appendage, like, there's really no standard. But me? Uh, mm, no. No, this is not okay, but yeah. I can't think of anything else right now to get anybody blocked, I mean, because, like, for the most part, uh oh, complaints about me that are unfair, like, you know it when you see it, like, certain ones, like, for instance, like, if you will complain that I post a picture, like, of my dogs, like, you might get muted because it's my life, these are my dogs, things like that, that's like, "Why are you like other people?" And then yeah, why are you you? Why are you your own unique person? Why aren't you a carbon copy of somebody else? I don't know why. I'm sorry. But when I other like specific like fetish and things, it's like I'm down to clown, but for the most part, I mean, some of them are not allowed. Some things are not like allowed, but you'll know that if you type in the words. It won't let you messages, so you would know them. Uh, the guy that owns the Airbnb, she did it at found out. Oh my god, yeah. Have fun selling that, babe, but think she's now blocked from that company now. Could you, like, could you imagine you're you're if you're a family, you're gonna stay there for, like, treat your kids, you've been working hard all year in your job, and you wanna treat your wife and family, feel like a little trip to the UK. And little Timmy's like, "Daddy, what's this?" Like, "Don't touch that. We need to go to a hospital. We need to get him tested. Antivirals, antivirals." Like this. Yeah, 1 star, negative stars. The cleaning crew needs to get not just like paid. They need to be driving like a Rolls Royce out of that job because that is the. Anyway, people think sometimes they can get a reputation like I'm really like can be mean or whatever, and I just feel like I'm a person. Like just acknowledge like I'm a real person, and that's it. Like I don't know. I feel like there's a separation. I really think it's like what I had wrote on my page about like they don't see not seeing me as a person. Like I'm just like an object, and I feel like when you treat someone like that, you might not even say it's like, "Well, how dare you act like you have value. Like, how dare you, like, I mean, in like a humanity, like, there's a certain um I think that if people considered more before they talk to me, that, oh, thank you, Jerry. um, what's the word? That I'm a whole person, um, then I think some of those people might not be muted right now. Yeah. That's it. That's it. All right, my dears. Today is, I think it's Wednesday. So I will be back tomorrow. Um Wednesday, January 1st. Thursday, January 2nd. And the screen should look better. But the other computer, get that set up. Um yeah, and tonight, wish me luck. I'm gonna try to talk to that company. Fight, 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 fight. Um, what else? Feed the dogs. Yeah, and deal with the pain. Yeah. But yeah. I love you so much. Mwah.